Merry Christmas. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being at Mass this morning to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. It's so good to see you all. Christmas, for me, Christmas, I'd imagine for a lot of us, is a magical, fantastic time. But have you ever thought about how stressful that first Christmas must have been? Mary had a baby. That's stressful. Mary had a baby in a barn. Incredibly stressful. Mary had a baby in a barn and then had to entertain a bunch of uninvited shepherds who demanded to see her child. Ridiculously stressful. That's right, Christmas is fantastic. Christmas is magical, but Christmas can be pretty stressful. And I imagine that this Christmas has brought at least a little bit of stress into your life. For example, Christmas can be stressful when we have to go out and buy gifts. We have to get on Nicholasville Road, cram into the mall to buy gifts. Christmas can be stressful having to earn that money to finance that Christmas, having to decorate the house, prepare food, entertain guests, having to cram everybody in the car this morning to come to Mass. All these things can be stressful. And Christmas isn't just stressful for adults. Christmas can be stressful for kids too. The kids here, they've had to wait so long to open those presents under the tree. They've been wanting, waiting, hoping to open those presents, and it's finally here, but it's involved a good deal of stress waiting for those presents. And on a more serious note, there's those of us who are experiencing our first Christmas without a loved one. That loved one might have passed away this year, or he or she can't be with us this Christmas, and that's not only stressful, that can be heartbreaking, and I'm sorry if that's the case for you. That's right, Christmas is magical, Christmas is fantastic, but Christmas can also be stressful. Christmas can be heartbreaking. Christmas can be gloomy. Christmas can be dark. Christmas is dark. Christmas literally comes at the darkest time of year, the time of year with the least sunlight. The darkness outside can sometimes reflect our interior darkness, our interior gloom, our interior loneliness. And we wonder in this time of darkness where we can find light, where we can find hope. Let me tell you a little story about those shepherds, a little legend about those shepherds after they received that message from the angels about God's birth in the person of Jesus. As we heard in the gospel, the shepherds received the news of Jesus' birth with great gladness, great joy, and they went in haste to the stable. But before they went to the stable, they stopped at their homes to retrieve their finest possessions. They stopped at their homes to get gifts for the newborn child. They retrieved their finest food, their finest clothing, their coolest toys for the child Jesus. That is, all except for one poor shepherd. This poor shepherd had nothing but the clothes on his back. He had nothing to give to the child Jesus. He was ashamed, but he decided to tag along anyway with the rest of his friends. As the shepherds piled into the stable, they piled up their presents in front of the Holy Family. The presents made a mountainous pile that symbolized their own generosity, that expressed their own gratefulness for Christ's birth. The poor shepherd, however, stood alone in a corner, trying not to be seen, ashamed that he had nothing to offer Jesus. Mary received the presents one by one from the shepherds. She thanked them for their great generosity and kindness. But then she noticed out of the corner of her eye, the poor shepherd huddled in the corner. Noticing him, she got up from her chair, went to the manger, picked up the child Jesus, and brought it to the poor shepherd. Holding out the child Jesus to the poor shepherd, she asked him, "Would you like to hold him? Would you like to hold my child?" The poor shepherd who had come into the stable empty-handed, now held within his arms the greatest gift anyone could give, the greatest gift anyone could receive. And looking into that child's face, that radiant, beaming, glowing face, tears began streaming from his own eyes. Christ is the light that comes and shines in our darkness this Christmas season. Christ is the light that shines amidst our gloom, our sadness, our loneliness, our stress. The light of Christ did not go out, was not put out 2,000 years ago when he died. The light of Christ still burns brightly. The light of Christ still burns brightly in this community. The light of Christ burns brightly in the empathetic ear, the empathetic listening of a friend who listens to us in our time of need. The light of Christ burns brightly in all those who were involved in the giving tree this year in this parish, who provided gifts for the underprivileged, for children who would have gone without a presence this Christmas. The light of Christ burns in all of those who care for the sick, visit the elderly, who stand up for the oppressed and the vulnerable, the immigrant, the most vulnerable in our communities. The light of Christ shines most brightly here on this altar. The light of Christ burns brightly in the presence of Jesus under the appearance of bread and wine. Jesus is born again at this Mass, and at every Mass throughout the year, he comes to us again. The divine child is here to light our wicks aflame. So has your flame gone out? Is your flame extinguished this year? Come to this altar and light it anew. Light it here at this manger. Are you stressed? Are you tired? Do you feel empty? Come gaze on the radiant face of the Christ child in the manger. Do you feel lonely? Do you feel isolated? Come, make a manger of your hands or your tongue as you receive Jesus in the Eucharist this day. Are you a non-believer? Do you disagree with church teaching? Do you think the church is irrelevant? Do you think the church has lost her way? Come without condition, come without cost. Come and behold the light of Christ that anyone can appreciate, even those who don't believe in the church. So why are we here this morning? Why are we here at church this morning at this magical and fantastic season? We could be doing anything right now, but we've chosen to be here. We are here to be lit aflame by the radiant, beaming face of the child in the manger. We are here to see love himself, born as a giggling baby, whose toothless smile fills us with joy, happiness, and with a light that can never be put out.